Hey there, welcome back. This is 9-4. We are talking inverse trig, and what we're going to specifically look at in this video is the derivatives of inverse trig functions, okay? And so we're going to go ahead and calculify the inverse trig. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off with just our basic understanding of inverse trig functions, and they say here, given that x is equal to arc cosine of 2 over root 5, find tan of x. Well, it's important to note that if I wanted to rewrite this, okay, using an inverse function, that cosine of x is equal to 2 over root 5, right? I just rewrote it with inverse, okay? And now I can go ahead, I can draw a right triangle. Isn't that pretty right here? So cosine of x, this angle, is 2 over root 5. Okay, adjacent over hypotenuse. And if we do Pythagorean theorem, then this side will be 1. Okay, so what is tan of x? Well, tangent of x is equal to opposite over adjacent. So that is 1/2. And there you have it. Very, very simple, right? Okay. Number 8, they say given that y is equal to arc sine of x, find cosine of y. So I'm going to do the same kind of process here. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to rewrite this. So sine of each side, so sine of y is equal to x, and the denominator is 1. So if I have, say here, a triangle, and it is right, okay, so this is y, sine of y is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, notice I'm missing this side. So now if we went ahead and we used Pythagorean theorem, you would end up here with 1 minus x squared. And if you want to go ahead and pause the video and work that out, you can. Otherwise, you can believe me. Okay, so they want us to know what is cosine of y. Okay, well, cosine of y is equal to square root of 1 minus x squared all over 1, right? Or, I mean, we can just go ahead and say, hey, it's that. All right, there's cosine of y. All right, so what's the point? This is kind of like, I don't know, math 1 stuff, math 2 stuff. Well, here, they want us to go ahead and use our work from example 8 to find the derivative of arc sine of x. What? Okay, so here's what we're going to go ahead and do. We are going to go ahead and set up an equation. Y is equal to arc sine of x. Okay, and what we want to do is go ahead and rewrite this, right? Isn't this sine of y is equal to x? Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the derivative of both sides, okay, with respect to x. So this requires implicit differentiation. Well, what's the derivative of sine? Okay, well, that is cosine of y times the derivative of the inside, which is y prime, is equal to the derivative of x, which is 1. Okay, so if I want to go ahead and I want to get y prime, well, isn't y prime equal to 1 over cosine of y? And what is cosine of y? Well, we just found it up here, which is 1 square root of 1 minus x squared. And ta-da! There is your derivative of arc sine. We have derived it. Now that looks very, very weird, and I agree with you. Here are the derivatives for the inverse trig functions, and they look weird. You just derived it, so you could go ahead and do the same thing for any of these other functions. Notice here on this side, these are the chain rule versions, okay, of the following derivatives, but they're the same thing. So notice we don't have secant, cosecant, or cotangent. We're not going to work with them, at least for the AP exam. Okay, you might encounter them in Calc 2 in college or Calc 3, but these are the ones that we're working with. Okay, notice that for cosine, again, the derivative of a cosine is negative Okay, and just kind of notice the structural difference. Sine and cosine are very, very similar with the negative for cosine, and then arctan is different. Our denominator is 1 plus x squared, okay? So let's go ahead and let's apply this. I have g of y is equal to arctan of 2y minus 1. Okay, so I want g prime of y, and the derivative of arctan is here. Okay, so that's 1 over 1 plus x squared. And x is just whatever's on the inside of my function. Okay, so there it is. Times, okay, the derivative of the inside, which is 2. And there it is. Very easy. All right, now let's go ahead and look at 11. So 11, what is f prime of x? Okay, well, the derivative of arc sine is 1 over the square root of 1 minus x squared. In this case, our x is the square root of x squared times, now I need the derivative of the inside. Okay, so the derivative of root x is 1/2 x to the negative 1/2. And there it is. Very, very easy. Okay, and then last but not least, we have 12. What is arc cosine of the natural log of t? Okay, again, h prime of t is going to be negative 1 over the square root of 1 minus x squared. Okay, and again, x in this case is the natural log of t, okay, squared, times the derivative of the inside, which is the natural log of t. So that would be 1 over t. And there you have it. That is it. Derivatives of inverse trig. Not too bad, right? All right. But yes, you are going to have to memorize those formulas. I know, right? I'm sorry. Gosh, right? Just make sure you go ahead and memorize them. And they're not too bad, along with all the other trig formulas you have to memorize. Catch you next time. Peace.